Hi everybody, today I'm talking about that communication gap that we find that we have when we're trying to deal with the sensing thinker, the ST. There is a huge gap there because us INFJs and the sensing thinker personality type, we communicate and we make decisions very, very differently. And it can cause some massive gaps and make life really difficult. So I thought it would be a fun topic to talk about today. If we haven't met before, my name's Trina Bretnell. I'm an INFJ self-love coach. I love what I do because I love teaching INFJs to love themselves. So many think that the INFJ personality type is a curse. So I love teaching them how to embrace it and how to learn to love themselves so they can show up and share their gifts and their strengths with the world and just make the world a better place. I love doing that. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm so glad that you found it. If you're returning, I'm so glad that you came back. All right, let's get into this. So us NFs, INFJ, intuitive feelers, we focus on possibilities, values, and relationships. So when we want to make a decision or we're communicating, we always think about everybody involved and how it's going to impact each individual person, right? More on a personal level. The sensing thinkers, well, they're amazing people too. They don't think that way. They like to focus on facts, logic, practicality. They think about the whole, not each individual person. They think about how it's going to benefit the whole. So if you're working in a company and there's something that comes up, as an INFJ, you're going to think about all the people that it's going to affect personally, right? The sensing thinker, they're going to think about what's best for the company as a whole. So there's a huge gap there in communication, and it can make it very difficult when you're working with them. Now, if you're in an office setting, chances are very high that you're working with a lot of sensing thinker types because they're drawn to an office setting. And I worked with lots. When I was in the office, I worked with so many of them. I did not know how to deal with them. So it made my life very hard. The sensor thinkers, while they're amazing people, they tend to not really, I don't want to say they don't like the NFs, because that's not really proper. They do. They're not judgmental that way, but they have a really hard time dealing with us. And lots of times they're the ones that will give you like the eye roll and the what planet are you from kind of feeling, right? So it will shut us down very quickly. And it makes life so difficult. Makes that gap. The sensing thinkers, they don't understand us, right? They just, and it's kind of like from my past experience, it's kind of like they don't really want to understand us. I always think of the sensors thinkers as a one-track brain. There's no gray area with them. It's just that way. Whereas us, we have like the big gray area out there. And that's how I like to think about sensing and thinking, as opposed to us being the intuitive feelers, okay? So how do we close that gap? How do we close that gap and make life easier, especially in the workforce? Or maybe you're even in a relationship with a sensor thinker because they are amazing people. Learn to understand their perspective. This is very important. Ask questions and clarify where it is they're coming from so that we can really fully understand it. NFs, we love to ask questions. So you know what? Get that question cap on and start asking those deep questions so we can really understand that perspective that they're coming from. Next, communicate your perspective in ways that the sense and thinker, the STs, can understand. Now remember, they're all about facts, logic, and practicality. So use concrete examples when you're explaining it. You'll have to really tap into that sensing side of you. Again, I know we're intuitives, we're feelers. It's really hard. That sensing side is really not one of our strong preferences at all, but we can use it when we want to. We can draw on it and we can use it and we can get good at using it. So draw into that. Use concrete examples. Sensing thinkers prefer tangible, real life experiences. So you can relay your perspective using real life experience and tangible, that sort of thing, right? Don't stay away from like the abstract, the what if sort of thing. Be clear and direct. Be clear and direct when you're talking to them. So they appreciate clear and direct communication. And that's again where I was saying, stay away from like the abstract concepts. They don't like that. Avoid vague language. NFs, we tend to do that, right? We get caught up in, because we have a real abstract mind. We have a very busy mind. It's full of lots of imagination and creation. And we can see answers to the problems because it's all about putting patterns together. So we've got the answer. But sometimes how we relay that, especially when we're dealing with the sensing and the thinker, is a little bit too abstract for them. It's too vague, and they don't like that. That's when you're going to lose them. They're going to do the eye roll, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is like, what planet is this person from? And they're probably not going to take you serious. I know that happened to me so much when I worked in an office setting. I struggled with being taken seriously because I didn't know. I wasn't aware of the different personality types and how to deal with each of them. So the sensing and thinking, they really appreciate that clear and direct communication. Focus on facts and data. They value, STs value facts. They love visual aids. So you know what? Get those graphs, those charts, those diagrams. You can put your solution, your ideas, if you give yourself time to think about it, you can put it into a graph. You can put it into charts, diagrams, because the way we think, it's all pattern based, right? So if you give yourself time to think, you're going to realize how you came to that solution by following the breadcrumbs, the pattern back. And that's what you need to relay to the STs, the sensing thinking, is that pattern. But you need to do it without using abstract concepts. You need to do it more of the concrete. So like I said, those visual aids, they love that, and it will really get their attention, and you're really going to be taken serious. It's going to give them something to think about. Stay away from the vague language, even though we really, really like it. For us NFs, it can be very difficult to put into words how we got to that solution. Very difficult, right? And that goes into our intuition. Our first preference is introverted intuition, and that's all about patterns, pattern recognition. That's what it is. So if you give yourself time, like I said just a few minutes ago, time to think about it, even if you start on another project and kind of, I'm thinking about this with one side of my brain and I'm doing this project with the other, all of a sudden your intuition is going to pop out and say, hey, this is how I got to this. Here's the breadcrumbs. And that's what we really need to relay to the sensing the thinkers, because they need that. They can't go on a gut feeling. They don't like that. They don't like gut feelings or hunches. They're going to be like, okay, yeah, here we go. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Work on the communicating, your communication with that. You know, the concrete examples and everything I mentioned, that will really help. It's going to make your life so much easier when you're dealing with sensor thinker types. They're amazing people, but they are a challenge for us. That's for sure. But you know what? When we get good at dealing with them, we work really good together. So there's that too. Alrighty. I hope that was helpful. If it was helpful, please give it the thumbs up. Feel free to share this as many times as you wish. The more times we share it, the more INFJs we can help. And that is amazing because I love helping INFJs. There's not a lot of resources out there for us, so it can make it difficult. So the more times we share it, the higher the chance of another INFJ finding it. And if it feels right, hit the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. And until then, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you again real soon. Bye.